Good?
Good.
All right, here we go.
We're ready.
To our esteemed panel. All right. Whoa, tough crowd. Louis, I think this one's for you. Coveo is a private company. What if someone buys you?
Interesting. We get that question all the time, and I'll answer the following way. Anybody could buy us, obviously, but the reality is we're not for sale. If we look at history, we built a company before named Taleo. We turned down selling the company multiple times just because we were building value. And at the end of the day, you don't. And we've said that publicly. If you go on YouTube and et cetera, even in our previous lives and et cetera, many people, many companies in the tech sector talk about the word exit strategy. And I've been personally saying for 15 years that we don't have that in our jargon. Actually, when being asked by investors, what's your exit strategy? We always say we have none. How about that? Would that work for you? And the reason is that, the journey is far more important for us than the destination, first of all. And we're about creating value. And think about it, what else would we do? We're one-trick ponies. All we know is this trick, and Coveo is a very good place to be at right now. And we're in a super fast-growing industry, super well-positioned, and creating a lot of value and having a lot of fun with a great team doing it. So that would be my answer. I cannot provide a black or white answer because that wouldn't be, you wouldn't believe it, and that wouldn't be accurate. But this is not in the plans. This is not something that we're interested in currently, and certainly for a long time, I think.
Good. Thank you. Is there a big proportion of Coveo clients using on-premise solutions shifting to the Coveo cloud? Anyone? I'll start. Certainly we've seen, obviously, I think you saw Gautier's presentation of the V1, V2. We've seen a strong migration. Obviously, all of our newer clients are straight cloud first. Yes, we have some existing customers that have been using us in an on-premise environment, but we're seeing the whole of technology move to the cloud. This is not Coveo. This is an industry tectonic shift. Technology management is a cloud thing. And so, everyone's own IT organizations are starting to reflect that and figuring out how they can be more nimble, how they can access these services, how they can scale up. And we're along for the ride. So, anything to add on that, Laurent?
Sure. I think what we're seeing from our on-prem customers is either they have already moved to the cloud or they want us to help them transition faster to the cloud for all of the good reasons that Mark explained. So, the cloud is not even the future, right? The cloud is today. And those customers that are on-prem, 95% of them have a desire to cloud.
Scratch 'em.
That's always a good
I might
start.
come back to that one. I'm putting that back in the box.
Keep it for the end.
All right, so let me just... I want to get a meaty one. All right.
Tell dessert's going to be great.
Oh, actually, this is interesting. So Coveo is hosted on the Amazon cloud. Do you plan to leverage other providers? If so, would it be possible to host Coveo on a private cloud? Laurent, sounds like one for you.
Yeah, that's a great question. Who was there at the product keynote yesterday?
Pretty much everyone.
All right. So our strategy is build an index-agnostic platform where the index, Elasticsearch, can be hosted on Azure, on Heroku, on AWS, and or some private clouds, and or some specific clouds that are an extension of on-premise. That's our strategy. And AWS and Azure especially can be in Europe, in Asia, and everywhere in the world. For some specific countries down the road, we may consider moving our entire own cloud that is managed end-to-end, that is currently running on AWS in the United States. We may consider moving that to other countries, depending on market conditions and demand. But starting end of this year, where we'll have a pilot of the index agnostic platform, we will start seeing Coveo running on those other clouds from an indexing standpoint.
Cool. Thank you. Question. How can we, I thought they said, how can me scale? I thought, I don't need to scale. How can we scale and expand adoption without blowing our brackets a limited budget? Jen, this sounds like one for you.
Sure. I think there's a couple of different things and best practices that we've learned and helped our customers with on their adoption journey. So one is that video really works well. And this is something that you don't have to have a Hollywood production anymore. You can simply grab your iPhone and video yourself.
Or Angelo.
And, helping your users understand not only the technology change that you're making, but more importantly, as we heard much this morning from Atul and also from Greg yesterday and several others, is that as you're on this journey, it's important to help people understand why the change is necessary, what's in it for them, why are we doing this? And so if you have your executive leadership or whomever is responsible for the program, helping them understand and interviewing Louis and saying, hey, Louis, why are we doing this? And so getting that kind of feedback on video, and then that really can be shared quite easily and quite economically with your users for adoption.
Cool, thank you. Anyone else got anything to add on that? I've got a roadmap one here, speaking of roadmap. So Laurent, this is probably for you. In the spirit of transparency, can you share your roadmap plans with us on 1B? Can you share us? We have forgotten how to write. As a population, we've forgotten how to write. I feel like I'm on some journey, like with deciphering hieroglyphics here.
Could you slack me the question?
Could I slack you the question? Yeah. All right, let me try again, sorry. In the spirit of transparency, can you share your roadmap plans with us on a regular basis? Impact is great, but regular updates would be great too.
Yeah. We spend a lot of time during the year having calls, having some visits on site with customers to address some roadmap specificity. Some customers want to know more about our view with Sitecore, others care more about Salesforce, others are more on the platform. And part of the team, or the team that you've seen here, spends a lot of time having those conversations with customers, and we intend to do more of that during the next year. So please feel free to contact us. We are happy to organize whatever is required to clarify our direction.
I would say that in general, as a strategy, Coveo wants to be super transparent. So there's not much that we do that is a secret. Quite the opposite. We want to communicate what we do, get feedback to improve it early on. So we're very open to it. In marketing right now, we have a couple of initiatives around customer marketing where we need to get a little better in communicating. It's more a matter of venue, mechanisms, and et cetera. I'll extend the invitation. You're always welcome to the R&D Center. There's an open invitation for you to visit us in Quebec City.
Especially in summer.
Especially in the summer. It's a little better. Or if you have courage, you can come in January. But in general, as a general rule, no roadmap question that you have should be unanswered because there's a genuine appetite for us and desire to communicate that very, very openly and hopefully more proactively.
Actually, if I can build on your point there, Louis, from a marketing point of view, and I think I spoke to a couple of people on an ad hoc basis, but genuinely, if there is something we can do to help you inside your organization kind of spread the good word, whether you want to call that account-based marketing or whatever the current jargon is, genuinely, we're interested in helping you communicate what you're doing with Coveo to your partners. Yesterday it was like, tell a friend. We will help you tell that friend. So more than happy to take this kind of content, the roadmap story, into your organizations, obviously partnering with you to communicate internally and to extend the Coveo story elsewhere inside your organization. So, please feel free.
And perhaps if I might add, the whole purpose of an event like this one of the topics was to listen. And hopefully we've done a lot of that listening here. But we welcome your feedback into that roadmap. We want ideas. We think the greatest ideas are really on that side of the podium. And so in general, we want to get that feedback.
Good point, actually, because I think we've got some feedback right here specifically on that. This one, I guess, is also a Laurent. Is Jive Cloud on the roadmap? And how can we get Coveo and Jive Cloud to communicate?
All right, that's a good one. We love Jive. We need APIs from Jive.
That's right.
So we can index and communicate with Jive. So for those in the room who need that, for those in the room who have Jive and want Coveo to index it, please contact Jive. My ask is tell them you want Jive to be open so Coveo can go after it. And when it's ready, it will get in the roadmap very quickly.
And Laurent, building on that, are there other vendors that you see have a similar kind of, I don't know, call it closed nature, or are there other things that folks might need to know where we have that same issue? We'd love to do it, but we're kind of waiting on the other vendor. Is that a pattern?
Nothing that comes to mind. Okay. There's less and less of those systems that are closed. So we like to do it the right way, using APIs, indexing security, and so on, right? We're not in the business of hacking content, obviously. So,
although we could,
but let's
we
say
have the capability.
We would not sell that. We would not productize that. We want to do the right things. So. Maybe if I may, there's also capabilities around Push API that we discussed yesterday a little bit earlier to go for partners, for developers, to go a little bit outside of the formalized product capabilities of Coveo, to index piece of content that may be specific to your organization and push it to the Coveo index. And this way, maybe there's an imperfect way of indexing content, but that is good enough for a specific organization, and the Push API fully supports that.
Good, thanks. Jen, I think this one's for you. It says, if KCS is not an option, what other knowledge methodologies are there?
Sure. First of all, I'd like to know why it's not an option. So if whoever asked that question wants to chat afterward, I'm happy to take that one a little deeper. But yes, there are other options. A lot of folks use a specialized content team, where they have a specific group of resources that are dedicated to creating and managing the content. Happy to go into lots of details why I don't think that's the best way to do it, but it certainly is an alternative way to do that.
And I guess as follow-up, do you see, maybe a more general question about KCS generally, what are you seeing in terms of adoption and trends?
Yeah, I'd say that the Consortium for Service Innovation has been working on this methodology for about 25 years, and it's had over $50 million worth of research applied to it. So this is not just some folks that thought something was cool and wanted to do this. The top technology brands, and now lots of brands outside of technology, are actually starting to leverage this for one simple reason, that it works. So I think there's a lot of unfortunate, incorrect thoughts and perceptions perhaps sometimes about KCS and what people think it is and what it really is, because they've not really spent the time to kind of learn and understand the core principles. And so sometimes it gets a bad rap unnecessarily. So that's unfortunate, but I think the consortium is a not-for-profit organization and really relies on its members, of which we are one, to kind of evangelize the message for them. And so sometimes things get messed up, but definitely seeing huge adoption trends. I've been involved in this methodology myself personally for about 15 years and have really just started to see it's a household name now. Before, I used to have to explain it every time. People didn't have a clue what it was. Now at least they've heard the term, they know what it is a little bit, and they're anxious.
Okay. Thank you. I guess you probably answered this already. Any plans to build a Vimeo connector?
In full transparency, there's no entry in the roadmap or the backlog for that. I think that the easiest way, if it's coming from a partner or if it's coming from a developer, is to leverage the push API to try that very quickly. And otherwise, I mean, there are mechanisms to contact us and see if we can prioritize that in the roadmap.
Okay. This is an easy one for me. When will slides and the recorded sessions, when will they be available? My trusted team have informed me that we will have all this stuff packaged up by next Thursday. And so you should expect an email as follow-up with your kind of Impact to Go stuff to share and spread the good word. And we're fully well aware, right, that by having different work streams, people had to make some trade-offs. There were some organizations that, of course, were very grateful that you were able to send more than one person, and so you were able to kind of divide and conquer. Not everyone had that luxury. And so by at least packaging all that material, making it available in toto, you'll be able to look at the presentation material that in the sessions you weren't able to attend, and obviously take advantage of the video recordings of all this stuff as well. And obviously, tell your friends. So next Thursday. What else we got? How does Coveo use Coveo?
Oh. I'll take that one, sure. Okay. Lots of different ways, I guess, is the right answer. We have a Sitecore website where we have a connection. Our Coveo search is obviously available there. We also are Salesforce users internally, and so our support agents are using Coveo as part of their day-to-day operation. We are practicing KCS internally at Coveo as well, so we're constantly pushing new content to our customers, our portal, our self-service portal, and so we're using it. We're using it all over, I guess, is the right answer there. We're using it in all the different ways. We leverage it internally for internal searches for different things as well. So I think we're definitely leveraging it. We use our own, we just did our first internal EBR. So any of you that work with customer success, we like to come and do executive business reviews with your team. And we did one internally just about a month ago to really kind of shine some light on what our analytics are telling us about our content and our strategy. So we're definitely eating our own dog food. Internally also, we've built, and this is something as the platform opens up and et cetera, this is something that you will be able to build as a kind of a DevOps capability, but internally, I know we use Coveo at a management level to extract pipeline information and sales information from Salesforce and navigate into it, just because it's easier to navigate it, from Coveo than from Salesforce itself. And so for a whole bunch of dashboards and manipulating data, even for management purposes and so on, we use quite a bit of Coveo here and there. We have Coveo, which is something we don't sell, but we have Coveo at Coveo integrated with an Outlook as a sidebar, where as you toggle through your emails, we look at the content of the email and we actually populate, external sources relative to that email. So that these are some of the things that we do internally. We wouldn't sell those products per se, but with the new capability, the ability of Coveo to bring content into context, can manifest itself in anything, and Outlooks is just a manifestation of that we use internally, and that you guys will be able to do with the platform as we move forward.
Anything to add?
Yeah, I would say that the way that the product is designed is to serve multiple use cases that may not be productizable or replicable into other companies, but that can be extended within one organization by developers. And for those who were in Gautier's session a little bit earlier this morning, those were a good example of pushing Coveo to the extreme. And internally, we have a lot of that. So, and it's, there's a lot more, I guess there's a lot more that you can do with Coveo than just what is available outside of the box.
I'm just going to pause here because I realize I'm whipping all these things out. Are there any live questions that have cropped up, just looking out across the audience? Anyone want to catch that ball? wherever it is. Otherwise, we'll keep going. Oh, there's anyone?
That's Tracy, I think.
Oh, that's
that's
Tracy.
Mike.
All right. So Tracy's got the toss mic. What is that thing called? There must be a proper word for it. Catch box. There we go. So the catch box is floating around. If anyone has a question, feel free to grab that thing, and let's make sure that we get live engagement from the field, from the floor as well. What's your view on Salesforce Einstein?
That's a great question. So Salesforce Einstein is great. It's got a lot of use cases, and we're working hard with the Salesforce team and the Einstein team to make sure that there's no overlap with what we do and what they do. We're going after relevance. We're going after personalization. We're going after recommendations. We're going after query suggest. And all of this, the raw material is from users that are dealing with a unified index and content coming from multiple repositories. Einstein is currently very good at doing lead scoring or doing image recognition. There's a little bit of NLP also involved in that would be slightly overlapping with us, but I would say it's 98% not overlapping, and I don't think it will be the case for the foreseeable future. So actually, yesterday, after Gauthier's section of the keynote, we named Einstein as one of the external services that could enrich the index, actually. We see Einstein more as added value to what we're doing than overlapping.
I might add, whether it's Einstein at Salesforce, Watson at IBM, Sensei at Adobe, or, and we won't brand. The world doesn't need another AI brand. I look at AI as a very broad theme, and it's not always well understood in companies. Starting sometimes at the board level, they read in articles in Forbes and they say, we need AI. And to me, AI is like cloud or mobility. It's kind of a large umbrella. More importantly, it's where you apply AI, and in the context of a specific set of use cases and so on. I might even go as far as saying that in the foreseeable future, AI as a set of mechanics for many use cases, many areas, is going to become a commodity. It almost is in some areas today. There are engines that we use off the market, and we're moving to an API economy. It's no longer about apps; it's about APIs and the ability to assemble services from, and Gauthier, those of you who were in the session this morning, Gauthier demonstrated how Coveo and services from Amazon like recognition with a K, their image recognition or other services can be combined, in fact, to create suddenly something new. And so for us, our focus at Coveo, as Laurent says, is about leveraging AI, but more specifically, machine learning on analytics around search journeys and outcomes combined with search in order to drive relevance. As I said yesterday, not a good conversation to have in a bar, but this is really what we're doing. And so we're focused on the topic of leveraging AI in order to deliver, personalized content in the context of customer and employee experiences, and this is really what we're all about. And so from that perspective, an umbrella like Einstein will do a lot of things, but we also know that it takes a lot of moving parts in close formation in order to do what we do, and we don't anticipate, and in fact we know and believe that a firm like Salesforce will get anywhere close to the kind of things that we can deliver. They're going to do great things, in other areas, but not quite, the kind of things specifically that we do. So we're very specialized entity, so to speak, and we're going to become a very specialized service as we move forward.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. How do I submit a speaking session for next year? Thank you, whoever wrote this. Please give me your business card as a start. But to make it more broad, so we'll actually be sending out a survey on the back of this. Obviously, we'd love to get your feedback. We said that this was the first one of these. We had obviously a smaller event, much smaller event this time last year. And we learned from that, learned a lot. And one of the things we learned was, expand and go more broadly. We want to continue to get that feedback from this event. And so plug for the survey. As part of the survey, we'll also be asking you if you're interested in submitting speaking. That doesn't mean we need a white paper or a piece of thought leadership like next Thursday, just a hand. So if you think that might be something you could kind of see yourself, up here or in one of the rooms or participating with the product team, however woolly that might feel right now, that's all we're looking for. So feel free to put up your hand on that survey. Obviously, the stuff I've heard empirically already and just, in hallway chats has been that the customer stories count, right? The theory of what someone does, great to see where the product's going from a roadmap point of view, full kudos to that. But actually seeing someone talk about how they've deployed whatever the technology or the vendor is, actually deployed it, put their reputation on the line, and then turn around and be proud of it and stand up in front of their collective peers, very, very powerful. So we want those stories. And it's not just that we want them, you want them. So in the same way that, if you've got value out of talking or being in a session with, an industry peer, you could be them. And we'd love to hear from you so that we can use that next time around. So yeah, please feel free to just put your hand up in whatever woolly format. We won't hold you to it, but it's in the survey. All right. Any other comments on that?
Nope, that's perfect.
Yeah. Okay, this is not hieroglyphics. This is something altogether different. This is like runes or something. I think I got it. That's a what, right? What's your? This is a really narrow typeface. Let's put it that way. What's your favorite moment at Impact? Oh, okay. I think all of us are going to have to tackle one of these. My favorite moment, if I may, has actually been hearing directly back from people about, and I've had a couple of these. I spoke to such and such who does something like I do, and we learned X from them. I've heard 3 of those. I won't call the folks out, but those for me are very warming because it means that we're starting to get to the gist of what this is about. How do you make an impact on each other? We talked about this notion of a community, and so for me, those are highlights because it means that the time you're investing in this kind of exercise is giving a reward. You are getting some direct impact to your organization that you can take back, and that's the moments I'm looking for.
Oh, it's hard to pick just one because I think, like you, I'm just putting a lot of faces to names that I've been working with over the last 2 years has been great. But if I have to narrow it down to one, we had a Voice of the Customer breakfast yesterday morning, and it was really great to dive into some very specific things with a group of folks that were all kind of tackling the same thing. We brought a group of peers together, and I really enjoyed their feedback and the opportunity to collaborate with them.
I'm going to be totally opportunistic here. And I'm going to stay on point and on message. To me, my favorite moment at Impact is Impact itself as a moment, and it's the sum total of the micro moments of experiences, of interactions between all of you and us and you. We've tried at Coveo to meet each and every one of you. This is not always going to be possible. In our former company, we started with events like this, and then this first thing you know, there are 3,000 people in the room. So that makes it a little bit harder, and we're privileged now that this group is small enough and big enough to matter and small enough to interact. So I think it's the sum total of all the interactions. I get a kick when two customers meet and exchange and share ideas, because, you know, what comes out of that is cross-pollination. Cross-pollination is a very powerful force in nature. If you don't believe me, try the opposite. And I
Which
think
is illegal in most states.
And I think it fuels innovation. It is heterogeneity. You don't find innovation in homogeneity. You find innovation in heterogeneity and cross-pollination. And we're firm believers of that. We've always managed our companies that way. And so that would be my answer. Impact to me as a moment, being the sum total of these micro moments, is really what makes it.
A little bit
That's
like
hard
Louis.
to follow, right?
I'll do as always, will do my best. I think that we've had a lot of conversations with partners, with customers, with prospects, and there's a very broad diversity of problems that you are trying to solve, and there's a lot of richness in having those ad hoc conversations. Sometimes we're 3 of us, 4 of us, and exchanging about how to tackle this specific problem. It may be a technology problem. It may be more of a implementation challenge. So this has been a constant thread, for lack of a better term, during this conference. I think what excited me was when a lot of you would come in and say, "Oh, I was not aware that we could do this or that with Coveo. I was not aware that we could extend Coveo this way." So that was my personal bonus, right? So because that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make you leverage your investment in Coveo and make sure you can do more with what you already have. So that was a good event for that, as far as I'm concerned.
I think I know who put this in here. How many BRP products do you own?
A few.
Those folks who are in Yasmin's session, I think you're over there, sir. I'm going to guess this is from you. But yeah, great customer. I don't even know if anyone wants to answer that, but you have a very desirable product set, and my visit to your offices was inspirational and exciting and all those words. So thank you. All right, that one we did already. Sorry. This is the last one. So before I get to it, are there any other hands floating around? We've still got the ball. Otherwise, this may be the last panel one, and then we'll start to wrap this thing up. So again, this is one of those ones that I think we should all have a stab at. What is your biggest takeaway from Impact? Who wants to start?
I'll start. I think my biggest takeaway in the interactions I've had is that I've had several conversations around the whole topic of experiences and customer experiences and employee experiences, and it seems to be we thought it was topical. I think it's even more topical than we thought. And so that's a big aha moment for me, which is I think every company is struggling right now. The world of technology unfolded very quickly for many companies. Has taken a lot of companies by surprise. Obviously, we're in San Francisco. There are a lot of tech companies in the room who are kind of at the leaders portion of that Jeffrey Moore curve of adoption. But nevertheless, no company isn't challenged with that, from what I can tell, and this seems to, resonate and important topic.
I think so. I met a new customer, many of you, of course, but on the first evening at cocktails, and he said to me, "You have really nice customers." And I thought, wow, he's absolutely correct. We have very, very nice customers. So that was my takeaway.
Yeah, for me, it's been it's been very helpful having both our partner community and our customers together, not quite in equal proportions, because that's not kind of that's not how the marketplace looks. That would be a misrepresentation of the population. But we've had this contribution of both our partners and our customers talking about what they've done together. And so often those relationships are deeply intertwined. Some of you, and indeed some of our customers that are not here, have had their partners speak for them about what they have built for them. And equally, we've seen the other side of that as well. So I think that interrelationship between our partner community and our customer community, and continuing to foster that, so that those are joint collaborations, not a vendor-type relationship, that has been really interesting to see manifest itself here at Impact as well.
My key takeaways, let's put it this way, would be the customers and the partner presentation, where we really solved problems together. It was exciting. I spent all of my time during the sessions was in I think it was the Olympic room, and seeing the diversity of problems that customers are tackling with Coveo, I kind of know that it's happening, but seeing that and seeing the enthusiasm of customers presenting how they are solving these problems is really, really, really good. And the partners having a strong presence this year is also really important, because we can do a lot more together, I think, in the foreseeable future. There's a lot of problems out there that needs to be solved.
There. Any further questions from the floor? Otherwise, we are going to... Oh, there's someone over there. The speaker box is on its way.
He's going to ask us how many BRP products we have, and really wants an answer.
No, it's a simple question, but do you guys plan to do any text data mining in the near future?
Text data mining?
Yep.
Laurent, I guess someone's for you.
Not at this point, not at this point, but we can have a follow-up discussion on that. And you're with one guy at your right that could also provide some additional context.
That's called delegation.
That's right.
Any further questions? Now or never? Well, until next year. All right. Well, I tell you what, at this point, I'd like to thank everyone for coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. Really appreciate it.
I want to say a few words. First of all, I want to thank our partners. We really appreciate your sponsorship. And again, without you, this event wouldn't have been made possible. So thank you very much for your trust in our partnership. And I want to come back on what we said the first day. We're here, and this event was all about creating that community and enabling that community so that you can share. And we want to be the catalyst of that. We want to listen and we want to improve, and that's the most important thing. If we have delivered on that, we'd like to hear where. If we haven't delivered on that, we want to hear it even more, because this is the first of a long tradition of such events that are going to grow, and we want to get better. And we want to make sure that we enable that community, and we put you guys together, and so you can share, and we can together create more value and continue on that excited journey. So and as the last word said, as I said yesterday, the most important thing is we want to be relevant to you, and that's important. So thank you very much, everyone. You've taken a lot of time on your precious schedules to be with us. We don't take that lightly, and we hope that it was certainly worthwhile your time. So thank you, and we learned a lot this week. So thanks for that as well. Thank you.